Daily Trust News Center. This is the News Hour.
On News Hour tonight.
25, 26, 27, 28, 29.
Coalition of results in governorship and state assembly elections on the way. Violence, ballot box snatching and vote buying characterize elections in states. Fire outbreak raises Gomboru market in Borno State on election day. And on the foreign scene, Malawi's president appeals for immediate aid after Cyclone Freddy. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Hour. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Governorship and State House of Assembly elections were concluded on Saturday with widespread reports of low voter participation, violence, intimidation, malpractices and some reports of vote buying. Nevertheless, President Muhammadu Buhari, who voted in his hometown, Daura, was satisfied with the polls and expressed confidence that the people will once again vote in his party, the All Progressives Congress. Kehinde Amodu reports.
President Buhari votes at Ward A, Sarkin Yara Polling Unit 003 in his hometown, Daura, in an atmosphere of order and tranquility. Nigeria's first citizen believes that the people will reward his administration's doggedness in trying to make life better for them by voting in the APC.
So I think Nigerians eventually trusted us because we mean what we say what we mean. I'm sure my party will win.
And he has reasons for believing so.
We tell Nigerians that we are going to work for them, we are going to maintain trust, we will not allow anybody knowingly to steal their resources. We will make sure that we encourage them to send their children to school, we encourage them to have healthcare facilities, and we did our best, and I think Nigerians appreciated it.
But it seems he might be a tad bit overconfident, especially with reports coming in from the states. Political actors are not taking things for granted, with reports of thuggery, ballot box snatching, intimidation, and outright violence filtering in from the states. It would seem the level of electoral malpractices during this week's elections dwarfed the incidences that played out during the presidential and National Assembly elections of February 25. First and foremost, despite the early arrival of election officials and quick start to accreditation and speedy commencement of polling, voters were scanty in some parts of Plateau, Abia, Niger, and Oyo states. Voter suppression was expected in Lagos because of events leading to the elections, and true to type, some parts of the state witnessed intimidation by thugs, but not as much as in Rivers, Osun, Bayelsa, Benue, and Nasarawa states, which suffered flashpoints of violence and disruption of the electoral processes. President Buhari had expressed satisfaction that incidences of vote buying were reduced to the minimum in these elections, but he spoke too soon. In Kwara State, 20 persons were arrested for vote buying, while a commissioner was allegedly picked up for a blatant show of voter inducement. Despite the gloomy picture, there was large turnout of voters in Kebbi, Borno, and Gombe states, while there was massive security deployment in Oyo and Edo states to keep incidences of violence and voter suppression to the barest minimum. The saying that politics is local is demonstrated by what has gone down in the states during the governorship and State House of Assembly elections. There is ample room to complain and challenge the results of these elections in court because there are quite a number of incidents to cite. Reviewing the elections, Kehinde Amodu, Trust TV News.
And coalition of the Saturday governorship and State House of Assembly elections in Kaduna gets underway as low voter turnout characterized conduct of the exercise. Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman reports that though conduct of the polls was largely peaceful across the state, there were, however, cases of voter intimidation and harassment in parts of the state.
Unlike the previous exercise, enthusiasm around the governorship and State House of Assembly elections in the state witnessed a decline. At some polling units visited, only INEC officials Party agents and security agencies were seen sitting idle while the prospective voters watched from a distance.
We started exactly by 8:30 and the exercise is going smoothly without any challenge.
The only experience I will talk about it is that the turnout is very, very poor. And that is what I have observed.
There's not much people today. People did not come out. It's just very few.
There was, however, marked improvement in the deployment of election logistics and personnel by the election management body. This was attested to by the State Governor Nasir El-Rufai, Minister of Finance Zainab Ahmed, and the governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress (APC).
So far, so good. I just hope that more people come out. The voter turnout still appears a little low. I hope more people come out, particularly the women.
This particular one is an improvement on the processes of that. The lapses that were observed have been largely addressed by INEC.
And the fact that they have decided to extend the election for at least a week, it makes them to properly organize the process.
While there was massive deployment of security personnel to guarantee peaceful conduct of the exercise, concerns over alleged intimidation and harassment of voters in some parts of the state were expressed, just as collation of results begins at the ward level.
This polling unit 20, that is in Ward 11, talking about Ungwanyelwa, here in Chiku local government area of Kaduna State. And right now, as you can see, both the officials of INEC, the security agencies, and the party agents are patiently waiting to see the turnout of voters who are expected to come and exercise their franchise. A number of them have done so, but a substantial number were said to be absent today for reasons best known to them. From Ongwanyelwa here in Chiku local government area of Kaduna State, Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News.
The governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party and governor of Adamawa State, Ahmadu Fintiri, was among early voters who cast his vote in his hometown of Karchinga, Madagali local government area. His main challenger and opposition All Progressives Congress governorship candidate, Aishatu Binani, was also an early caller as he cast her vote in Yola, Adamawa State. The report.
It was not the regular day in the state, but one that offered voters the choice of choosing who becomes the next governor of Adamawa State. Senator Aishatu Binani of the All Progressive Congress, APC, is fighting to unseat Governor Ahmadu Umaru Fintiri of the People's Democratic Party and the incumbent governor of the state. Shortly after casting her vote in Yola, she commended the conduct of the exercise and is hopeful of a positive outcome.
So I'm confident in both the electorates and the officials of the INEC, because this is not the first time they are conducting election. We just concluded the presidential and national assembly election, and it was peaceful and it was a credible election. So I have confidence in them.
If you want any problem.
On the flip side, Governor Ahmadu Umaru Fintiri is optimistic of continuity as he casts his vote in his home residence of Karchinga Madagali local government area. This is the first time since 2014 when Boko Haram invaded this town, and the people of Karchinga are happy to participate in an exercise of this nature as life gradually returns to normal in their community.
The environment is safe, everywhere is calm, and the security has improved. And we thank Almighty Allah, we thank government, and we'll continue to encourage the security agency for doing their job. And I think I'm happy for my people that they are back to their place of abode. Perfect. I will win the election. I will get the day.
Voters are positive that the poll will be free and fair as they wait patiently for the outcome of the election. From Yola, Aaron Asahel, Trust TV News.
And at least 10 ballot boxes have been destroyed across several polling units in Rimingadu local government area of Kano State. Reports say voting was progressing peacefully when unidentified thugs disrupted the process and destroyed the ballot boxes. Security agents with the NSCDC, who later arrived at the INEC office at Rimingadu with some ballot boxes, said they escaped by the whiskers. One of the NSCDC officials had bruises on his arm while his uniform was covered in dust. Some of the wards and polling units where the incident happened include Dugurawa, Jujunkoso, Jili, Yelwa and Kongi 009. Daily Trust Bureau Chief Clement Oloyede gives us an update.
The chairman of the local government came together with operatives of the civil defense and carted away with the ballot box. While when I got to the INEC office in the local government area, the ballot box said to have been carted away by the chairman of the local government was brought in with civil defense officials and some INEC officials in the vehicle. And I saw one of the civil defense officials was carrying injuries along in his hand. And when I spoke with them, they said they escaped by a whisker. Also, we have another case in Dambata where another ballot box was destroyed. So this pocket of violence has been what has been witnessed across several places in Kano, especially in the outskirts area of the metropolitan area. That is what we have at the moment. The police are yet to speak on the Rimingadu incident. Of course, they have confirmed the arrest of the MD Kano line, who was arrested in the Gomaja area.
And still staying in Kano State, where governorship and State House of Assembly elections in the state was marred by reported violence and vote buying, even though voting ended peacefully in many parts of the state. Trust TV correspondent Idris Jibril reports that collation of results from the 44 local government areas of the state is being awaited.
It's governorship and state assembly election across the Federal Republic of Nigeria. In Kano, voters turned out in many polling units to elect their new executive and state lawmakers. But the early hour was not without some disturbances.
Have a little lens. When the staff comes in here, they complain that they did not come up with a register and a stamp. They went up. We have a delegate. We put some delegate to follow them to the local INEC office to collect all those items. And when they came in here, there is a little misunderstanding between the delegates. Some wanted the voting to be inside the classroom, but most of the people around here insisted everything should be outside.
In Chiranchi area of Gwale local government, where the NNPP governorship candidate Abba Kabir voted, crisis was averted after the latter accused the ruling party of disrupting the process.
As my constituency is concerned, I am confident that at the end of the day, the INEC is going to conduct a credible election. However, we have some issues of violence. Even here in my constituency, I was reliably informed that the APC chairman, who has been a notorious party leader, has also today brought so many thugs into the voting units, and they have perpetrated violence. They have conducted themselves in an unruly manner.
In election, you have small crises here and there, but for so far so good, and the police are trying seriously.
In Gauna, the APC governorship candidate Nasuru Gauna cast his votes and called on voters to conduct themselves in accordance with the law. I thank God that voting is going on across all parts of Kano State. And I want to use this opportunity to call on all our supporters, not even our supporters, everybody, whether you are supporting us or not. Let's conduct ourselves peacefully and in accordance with the law. We believe God has already decided who is going to be the governor of Kano State. Our own is to vote and watch and see what will happen in the next couple of hours or days.
Muna jira Allah zai bayyana
This is one of those places that we came earlier this morning and they have finished voting. These election officers are now sorting out the ballot papers, after which they will start counting. So, and this is not the only place. We have visited other places across Kano metropolis where the election has ended, and sorting out of the materials of the ballot papers is ongoing.
Although violence is reported in some part of the state, but election was held across the 44 local government areas of Kano State. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News.
And now to Gombe State, where the conduct of the governorship and State House of Assembly elections in the state could be said to be peaceful. However, both apathy characterized the exercise in some areas. Governorship candidates of the People's Democratic Party and the New Nigeria People's Party have also alleged vote buying. Ibrahim Ismail reports.
In most polling units, electoral materials were delivered on time and accreditation and voting commenced by 8:30 in the morning as stipulated. Gombe State Governor Inuwa Yahya, who is also the governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress APC, has cast his vote at the Kadefari ward in Gombe Metropolis. He said the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC has improved on the electoral process from the presidential and National Assembly elections.
The INEC has improved even up in the last general election, the presidential election. So going forward, I would expect that they will improve more so that we'll go digital, because the world has gone digital. I thank the people of Gombe State, and I hope they continue to maintain the peace. Against whatever, there will be winners and there will be losers, but Gombe State goes on. So I pray that people will observe the elections in accordance with the guidelines and regulations as set out by the Electoral Act.
However, candidates of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) and the New Nigeria People's Party (NNPP) have alleged vote buying.
I have explained to you that there is massive vote buying, there is influence of voters, which is illegal, it's against the Electoral Act. There is influence of voters, which is illegal, it's against the Electoral Act, and therefore we are watching it very closely and will take appropriate action in that direction.
But generally, there's pockets of complaints from other polling units. Issue of especially on the issue of vote buying, because that's the problem where a lot of calls from different part of the state that the election is holding peacefully, but they are seeing a lot of people going around, buying votes.
Other Nigerians who voted in the elections share their views.
Well, we can't say anything, but the election is so successful because everybody has come out and do his opinion in this. Of course, there is vote buying in this election, but thank God the EFCC was going around. That's why we have got before they are doing it. But as far as they see the EFCC, the team has already stopped. We are not doing it very well now.
Not any problem. The process is hitch-free.
The contest is tougher between the candidates of the APC, Governor Inuwa Yahya, and also who is the incumbent, and the opposition's People's Democratic Party candidate, Muhammad Barde, and NNPP's Kamisu Ahmad Melantarki, who is also contesting. They are the major political parties participating in the election. It is hoped that the results of the election will reflect the will of the people. From Gombe, Ibrahim Ismail, reporting for Trust TV.
And now to Katsina State, where the governorship and state assembly elections were conducted smoothly in most parts of the state, but not without some hitches. The exercise was characterized by low voter turnout in most areas, especially in Katsina metropolis. Abdullahi Yamadi completes the story.
As at 10 a.m. when the governorship candidate of People's Redemption Party (PRP) Imran Jino cast his vote at Gidan Galadima polling unit at Goriba Road housing estate, only about 15 people had voted. Imran Jino, who is confident of winning the election, said the process is seamless compared to the presidential and National Assembly election.
I'm happy and I'm delighted. I will always be a leader, and even if I don't win this election, I will always be there to support Katsina people and to guide them. I will embark on serious organizing, sensitizing and mobilizing project if I didn't get the winning vote.
This visually impaired person, Abubakar Abi, described the process as free, fair and smooth.
The only unfortunate situation up to now, if you look at it, the turnout is very low, very, very low. Only fairness we want to see is the judge to be able to identify who win and who lose.
Hawa Jibrin, the only female candidate in the election in Katsina State, said the process was successful considering the early commencement of the election and the use of BVAS machine.
The process, I can say, is very excellent because the turnout of people is very impressive. I feel like I'm the most happiest person on earth.
Hawa Jibrin, who is standing to represent Katsina local government at the State Assembly under ADC, expressed hope that INEC officials will live up to expectations by remaining transparent. At Kangiwa 10 and 11, the process was nearly marred by violence as some thugs who attempted to disrupt the process were quickly apprehended with the intervention of some stakeholders. A senator-elect at the February 25th presidential and national assembly elections in the state, Colonel Abdu Musa Radua, retired, who voted at the polling station, was confident the election was seamless.
The process has been very, very transparent, and people have come out en masse. You can see the crowd today. This has shown that the people have understood, the need to exercise, their civil rights.
Similarly, some bandits at Sabawa Gidam Mairimi polling station in Bazari local government reportedly disrupted the election and threatened to kill all stakeholders in the process. However, reports from the community indicate that the terrorists were chased away by civilian JTF, killing 2 of them in the process. As at the time of compiling this report, counting had commenced at some polling stations across Katsina State. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Cross Television News, Katsina.
And in Bauchi State, 2 governorship candidates in the state, Bala Mohammed of the People's Democratic Party and Baba Sadiq Abubakar of the All Progressives Congress, have expressed worries over the conduct of the election in 2 council areas of the state. While they are worried, the NMPP candidate Halluru Dauda Jika, on his part, says he is sure of victory after the election. Speaking shortly after casting their ballots during the governorship and state assembly elections, the candidates said their concerns stem from reports of irregularities received from officials from the area. Despite concerns, they commended INEC for the early arrival of election materials and the generally peaceful conduct of the polls.
I was told that the election is going on peacefully in different locations across the state. We saw an aircraft hovering around my local government area, but I don't know what that means. I have complained about the heavy deployment of soldiers, especially Air Force, but my co-contestants is using them at will. We are not using gun to achieve political goals, because whatever you become in politics is in the hands of electorates.
My responsibility as a citizen to decide who leads Bauchi State, and I'm really excited that the process is fine. Everybody is here, everybody is excited, and I am sure by the special grace of God we will have an excellent.
Yeah, my expectation is that NMPP will clinch the whole 31 state constituencies and the gubernatorial seat, inshallah. So there's a limit to what I can say on the BVAS, but the accreditation was very smooth. I was accredited and casted my vote within a span of 1 or 2 minutes, which is very commendable. The INEC has done very well.
And the President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu cast his vote in the ongoing governorship and state assembly elections at his polling unit 085 Alausa Ikeja, Lagos. Accompanied by his wife, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, the President-elect, however, did not speak to newsmen after casting his vote. His media aide, Dele Alake, told journalists that the president-elect will not be able to grant interviews till later in the evening. Barriers were used to demarcate the unit into sections and designated areas for voters, journalists and security operatives, which is different from the previous situation. INEC officials were early and had completely set up before 8 a.m. Meanwhile, the Independent National Electoral Commission has postponed Saturday's governorship and state assembly elections in 10 polling units in the Victoria Garden city around the Lekki area of the state. INEC President Electoral Commissioner Segun Agbaje made the announcement when he addressed reporters. According to him, core members deployed as ad hoc staff were hesitant to enter the VGC estate as they alleged that they were held hostage during February 25th presidential and National Assembly elections. Prior to the cancellation, voters in Lagos earlier exercised their franchise to determine the next governor and 40 lawmakers for the state. Despite some challenges, voting went on peacefully in most of the polling units. Abiodun Alade has more.
Earlier today, residents of Lagos State, the commercial nerve center of Nigeria, came out in their numbers to elect the man who will be piloting the affair of this state for the next 4 years. In most of the polling units, INEC officials arrive as early as 8:30 a.m. when voting commences. However, in some of the polling units, voting didn't start until 9:30 a.m. Some observers commended the conduct of this election, describing the election as peaceful. Some of the candidates also expressed their mind.
Reiterate again that this contest is about peace, it's about progress, it's about prosperity for our state and our country at large.
All over Lagos, and there's a lot of intimidation and harassment. A lot of intimidation and harassment. But we are on it.
As human beings, we've been consistent, we've been so focused. Over the years, we've been able to make that huge statement by making sure we're on the ballot. Now, leaving the rest to God and generality of Lagosians to decide.
However, there have been reported cases of voter suppression in some of the polling units in the state. Some of these polling units include areas like Okota, Oshodi, Isolo, Ikorodu, where some voters were being prevented from casting their ballot.
Anyone that gets his or herself involved in voter suppression should know that it's against the law, and the full weight of the law will be brought to bear on such individuals to serve as deterrent.
But there have been heavy deployment of security operatives to guarantee the safety of every voter in the state. In a matter of hours, Lagos residents will be expecting the outcome of this election. Abiodun Alade reporting for Trust TV Lagos.
And in Oyo State, the Governor, Seyi Makinde, has commended the Independent National Electoral Commission for the peaceful conduct of the governorship and state assemblies election in the state. Makinde spoke shortly after casting his vote at Ward 11, Unit 01, Abayomi, Iwo Road in Ibadan Northeast Local Government Council. Let's take a look.
Governor Makinde, who is also the governorship candidate of People's Democratic Party, is seeking a second term. He lauded residents of the state for coming out to exercise their franchise and described the voting process as peaceful while commending the security agencies for a job well done.
I think everything is going on okay. People have voted. The INEC officials, they came quite early, and the process is going on okay. Well, I heard the turnout is not as high as expected, but now we're appealing to people, to come out.
The governorship candidate of All Progressive Congress, Teslim Folarin, had earlier cast his ballot at Ward 5, polling unit 2, St. John Anglican School, Idiose, in Onara local government area, Ibadan. Addressing journalists, the APC candidate raised concerns about the activities of Oyo State Park Management System, saying information reaching him suggests that a plan is underway by PMS boys to scuttle the collation process. He commended security agencies and INEC for ensuring free, fair and credible election. The wife of the former governor of Oyo State, Florence Ajimobi, and her son, Idris, who is also contesting for membership of Oyo State House of Assembly, decried the low turnout of voters in some areas.
I say the security agencies have been doing a fantastic job. They're overstretched. Because those boys appears to be very organized. They know what they're doing. We're hearing reports that they want to. The whole idea is when they start collating, then there's going to be a lot of ballot snatching and all that stuff.
It's very prompt today, but looking at what I'm saying here, the turnout is very low compared to what we had 2 weeks ago, and this is quite disappointing. I don't know why.
My Lord is with me. So I've done all my preparations. That's all I can do. The Almighty has already written what will happen today, at the end of today, and the future. So I just do my best to prepare, and I leave the rest to God.
Despite unverified claims of vote buying, they are all hopeful of victory at the end of the exercise.
Meanwhile, Saturday's governorship and State House of Assembly election was marred by violence and low voter turnout in Osun State. Only the State House of Assembly election took place in the state and was keenly contested between the All Progressives Congress and the People's Democratic Party. Hamid Oyegbade filed in the report.
At Unit 18, Ward 3, Ojatuntun, Iremo in Ife Central Local Government Area, thugs smashed the ballot box and destroyed ballot papers. One of the voters, Victoria Eloyeni, narrated how political thugs harassed her at the polling unit.
We came here in the morning, and some hooligans come. They say, "Now, so you go vote for. If you know you can't vote for us, make you leave this place." I want to answer them, but my brain say make I cool down. They say, "Now you fast and." But it be I quit. I just tell them, say, I go. Vote my right is my right. One vote.
Similarly, there was violence in Oshogbo, Ilesha, and other parts of the state during the election. Politicians in the state raised their voice over the violence that characterized House of Assembly election.
If you do your finding very well, the police, NSCDC and the military arrested a lot of PDP thugs, but because there are so many here, so you still have a lot of them going around threatening with Okada. At the point, the military had to barricade. In the morning, they threatened people, so a lot of people went back home. It was a major issue.
You can see people on the queue there doing, the right thing. After the accreditation, they go there and vote. But my observation generally, and from the report that I'm receiving, is that there is generally low turnout of voters this time around.
The governorship election in the state, which was held in July last year, was won by PDP candidate Ademola Adeleke, who defeated APC Adegboyega Oyetola.
The Borno State governorship election experienced low voter turnout but recorded no security breach. The voter apathy was widely seen in Maiduguri metropolis, as Petrus Kurutsi reports.
There was restriction of vehicular movement around the Maiduguri metropolis to enable residents participate in the governorship and House of Assembly elections in Borno State. Some of the polling units had few voters who turned up for accreditation and voting.
Yeah, I casted my vote about just 8:45 because we started, the election start 8:30. Then I casted before 9.
Borno's incumbent Governor Umara Zulum casted his vote in his hometown in Mafa local government. He commended the smooth process and expressed confidence of being re-elected.
I couldn't spend more than 2 minutes for the accreditation exercise. I think INEC has done well, and we have to commend the efforts of the INEC in ensuring a credible election in the state. As far as we are concerned, our party APC is not willing to see any misbehavior at the polling booth. We must obey with all the INEC's rules and regulations.
The Vice President-elect Kashim Shettima also joined Maiduguri residents to cast vote.
Like in my own polling unit, in the last election I couldn't vote until around 12 noon. But this time around, they were ready by 8, 9, and I voted on time. Professor Zulum is a force of nature. Is there any governor in Nigeria that is better than him? That's the naked truth. Yes. We are on the cusp of recording a tremendous victory by God's grace in the governorship elections.
The outcome of the elections will determine whether the incumbent will be rewarded with another 4 years or another person will take over come May 29, 2023. Bitrus Kuruti, Trust TV News, Maiduguri.
And in Adamawa State, the New Nigeria People's Party governorship candidate in the state, Saad Tahir, has called for the immediate cancellation of the governorship election in the state. Tahir alleged that the election was marred by irregularities, hence the need for its cancellation. Silas Lawan has the details.
The New Nigeria People's Party governorship candidate in Adamawa, Saad Tahir, said the state governorship election has contravened the Electoral Act and other guidelines, rules and regulations that govern its conduct.
Their major complaint is on the ballot papers where the logo is not clear. We complained the other time. You were here at the NAS. I complained to them. And I was there when they called the INF. So they repeated the same. That one is worse, even the one now that I have seen with my eyes. Because even me, I have to ask, why is our logo? In some, like Michigan, Numan themselves, they call me. They said they did not see NNPP. I said they should snap it and send me. They snap it and send me, then I trace it. I said, look at the map of Nigeria. One just tiny thing. So most of our supporters, they will not know until when they ask if they have interest. And anybody who doesn't have interest, he will just go and say, why is NNPP? He will just leave it and go. Or he will just vote another party.
While the NNPP governorship candidates alleged the massive vote buying and irregularities, some electorate who cast their vote said so far the process was hitch-free, except for some challenges.
Actually, compared to the previous election, the process was very, very smooth and fantastic. There were a turnout of many voters. They came and they casted their votes. They exercised their franchise, unlike in the previous election. Yes, if you can go around, you check that, you discover that the casting of vote is moving smoothly. No problem of beavers, no fighting, no any misconduct of election there.
Actually, there are some people behind and some people. I am sure that something is going on. I am sure that something is fishery. But because you see some people, they are going to call the voters at the backside. They are doing some tete-a-tete words, tete-a-tete issues. Something is fishery. This is what I can observe.
In most of the polling units visited, turnout of voters was low, with stakeholders attributing it to loss of confidence in the electoral umpire due to the outcome of the presidential and National Assembly elections results. Silas Lawan, Trust TV News, Yola.
Still with us on Trust TV News Hour. Still ahead, we ask the question, is it playtime for just youth on election day? Details of this and more after the break. You stay with us.
That's great. It's good to see you.
Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us on Trust TV's News Hour. Let's now recap our top stories. Coalition of results in governorship and state assembly elections underway. And violence, ballot box snatching and vote buying characterize election in states. And now to other news. Eligible voters in Kefi, Nasarawa State, have expressed happiness with the conduct of the governorship and State House of Assembly elections in their respective polling units. Despite the low turnout of voters, those who cast their ballots said they are happy that they were able to exercise their franchise without hitches. Martia Umar reports.
At about 8:30 in the morning, voters were already seen casting their votes. Security personnel and election observers were also spotted in different polling units across Kefi local government area of Nasarawa State. And the polling unit of the ABC National Chairman Abdullahi Adamu at the Angwenrimi ward, voters lauded the process.
The election that they are doing now, I'm very happy because all people are voting for what they want and the voting is going well. No problem. I'm happy for that.
No, not at all. It was peaceful. We understand ourselves here in these polling units. We interact well.
The Commissioner of Police in Nasarawa State also assured voters that they will do their best to avert any form of crisis in the state.
We are doing all our best, and we want to improve from what we have done in the last elections. When you look at it, there are a lot of improvements, isn't it? And then at the end of the day, we hope and we pray that there will be a transparent, acceptable, isn't it, elections.
As at 12 noon, voting was complete and people were waiting patiently for collation. When it seemed like the APC National Chairman wasn't going to show up to vote, he showed up at about 12:30 and exercised his franchise.
I've appealed to them before today. I think I was with them Thursday that was last campaign day, and I did appeal to them to come out and vote. And I asked them to come and vote APC because I'm an APC chairman and I have that duty to do that. I have not gone around yet. It is just past midday. I do hope that the turnout will be more encouraging than I've seen this particular polling station.
At the end of sorting and counting, the APC National Chairman again lost his polling unit, as was the case during the presidential and National Assembly election. Martia Umar, Trust TV News, Kefi.
The Saturday, March 18th governorship and state assembly polls in Suleja local government area of Niger State witnessed voter apathy and vote buying. Residents of Suleja, who blamed the lack of enthusiasm for the polls on the unprecedented outcome of the presidential elections, called on the Independent National Electoral Commission to ensure that the votes of the few people who came out to vote at the governorship polls count. Trust TV's Aisha Salihu reports.
Suleja local government area of Niger State houses a number of polling units where voters usually come out to cast their ballots. But the reality of the Saturday 18th March governorship and state assembly elections is a far cry from what is usually the norm.
On the 25th of February, when you come here, we have a population of more than 10,000 people here. But you see today, the thing has turned to become something else. The reason is this. Now, we have lost hope and confidence in the electoral system.
The citizens are losing confidence based on the outcome of the previous or the presidential election. Because what we expected and what we actually voted for is never what INEC announced to us.
There is a low turnout
but we identify that from those that are not indigenous of Niger State, because it used to happen anytime when there is a national election like this, the presidential, the National Assembly election, you will see a large turnout.
Residents who commended INEC's outing, however, lamented the deployment of insufficient election materials, the unclear placement of political party logos and names on the ballot, which many fear may disenfranchise and mislead illiterate voters if not properly guided.
The ink is not coming out well. They should do something about it, because I'm the first person that voted. See, if the thing is doing like this, what will happen to others? They should do something about the ink.
I rectify some problem, especially on the ballot paper, which therefore the problem, there is no name on the logo. It is only logo on that ballot paper, which that can affect maybe some illiterates.
Disappointment that I got when I got to vote this morning was I found out that there are some of the party logos that did not carry their names.
Political party agents were seen inducing and influencing the voters' choices through cash and mobile transactions. At the conclusion of the governorship and state assembly polls in parts of Niger states, especially polling units located in registration area wards in Suleja local government area of the state, the peaceful conduct of the polls, vote sorting and counting excited some party agents whose parties are in early leads. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Meanwhile, voter apathy greeted governorship and state assembly elections in Rivers State. Unlike during the presidential election, where residents came out en masse to cast their votes, the reverse is the case in the ongoing governorship elections, as many residents stayed away. Many polling units in Port Harcourt City, Obioakpo local government, Eleme, Oyigbo, Eche and Omuma local government areas of the state were empty when our reporter visited. Some of the residents who spoke with our reporter said that they are not interested in the election because their votes will not count. In Oyigbo, a resident, Chukudi Emenike, said he's not participating in the governorship election because his vote will not count. There were pockets of violence and hijack of electoral materials in Port Harcourt City, Eleme, Tai and Obioakpo local government areas in the state. In the meantime, counting of votes has commenced in some polling units. Results of Ward 11, Unit 19, Obiakpo, was declared. Meanwhile, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has arrested 20 persons for alleged involvement in vote buying during the governorship and House of Assembly elections in Kwara State. Among those arrested is an assistant presiding officer. According to the head of the Ilorin Zonal Office of the EFCC, Michael Nzekwe, the suspects were arrested in different parts of the state. Items recovered from them include cash, point-of-sale machines, phones and exercise books where account details of suspected beneficiaries of the vote buying were written.
Majority of the arrests you see are people who were directly involved in vote buying. I'm sure, as you are all aware, our mandate as EFCC is to ensure that money influence in politics is totally cut out and eradicated. And if you have been following up with public enlightenment, you would have seen where my executive chairman has been on TV saying to everyone, when you find anyone report and those numbers are there. So we got credible intelligence and then we acted on those intelligence.
And some youth in Jos North local government area of Plateau State on Saturday morning took advantage of the empty streets to play games as residents went to their polling units for the governorship and House of Assembly elections. While some of the youth attributed their non-participation in the elections to their inability to obtain their PVCs, others say they will cast their votes after finishing the games. Ado Musa, who visited some areas where the youth were seen, reports that while some of the youth were playing, others have been at the polling units to exercise their franchise.
Today is the governorship and state houses of assembly election
where many Nigerians are eager to go and exercise their franchise to ensure that they vote for a credible leader. But some people prefer to go out to play games. Let us hear why some of them prefer to go and play games rather than to go and exercise their franchise.
And definitely the reason that I say let me come to training ground is that I see right from 7:30 this morning, people are on the queue in order to exercise their franchise. So I say let me use this opportunity before the queue is reduced so that I can go there and vote my choice, inshallah.
You know that everything in Nigeria is time. So my time was never reached because every time that we go to do it, there will be fighting, something, corruption, everything is too much. They will be saying that you doesn't have money, you must pay for that before they give you the voters card. Well, because I went here to Islamia, you know that it's there that they are using to do it. So I went there to do it, but of course they say that we must pay money before doing the voters card.
Truly, I feel so very sad and so bad because at my age, I reached the level to vote for any candidate that is my choice, but I don't have the voters card to go and vote. And there is some people that they even have the voters card, but the reason why they see us here, that's what make them follow us here to come and play ball, and they did not vote. Too much crowd.
Although there are no governorship and state assembly elections in Abuja, business activities are relatively low in the nation's capital. Yusuf Akogu speaks to some residents in the Utako area of the capital city.
The governorship and the State House of Assembly elections are ongoing right now in the 36 states of the Federation. 28 states precisely are electing new governors today, while the whole of the 36 states of the Federation are expected to have brand new state houses of assembly at the end of today's election. Out of the 28 states that are electing new governors today, 11 of those state governors are actually seeking re-election, while the remaining 17 of those states will have a brand new governors by the time the election is concluded today. But the mood here in the Federal Capital Territory is that of usual business activities. Some residents here are not even aware that elections are taking place in other states of the Federation.
The election is going on in various states of Nigerians, but here in the FCT, you know, we don't have the gubernatorial, we are not doing gubernatorial election and State House of Assembly election. So we are doing our business as normal as it is.
Governorship election is going on. So I believe that new Nigeria will come. I believe that with the help of God, because people are praying so hard for new Nigeria. So the election should be free and fair so that we will enjoy the candidate we select ourselves.
What we need in this election is progress of the country. Any person that will enter, let him make the country to be better for us.
Yusuf Akogu, Trust Television News, Abuja.
Right now, let's join Chiamaka Nwafo for business news.
The federal government has announced plans to award subsidies to mini-grid developers for the deployment of solar power mini-grids to 150 underserved and unserved electricity sites across 7 states. The government announced this in a statement issued by the Rural Electrification Agency on Friday. The statement said the deployment of the mini-grids would be driven by the private sector. According to the statement, the project management unit of the REA, under its Nigeria Electrification Project, just concluded a hybrid pre-bid conference for the minimum subsidy tender program of the solar hybrid mini-grid component. The solar hybrid mini-grid component is financed by the African Development Bank. China's central bank on Friday announced a quote to the amount of cash banks are required to hold in reserve for the first time this year in a move designed to shore up an economy weakened by the COVID-19 pandemic. The People's Bank of China, PBOC, said it would cut the reverse requirement ratio by 0.25 percentage points starting March 27th, which would allow commercial banks to lend more to businesses. This would bring the weighted average reserve requirement ratio for financial institutions to around 7.6%, the central bank disclosed. The PBOC said the latest cut was intended to improve the level of service to the real economy. The rate was last cut in November when the world's second largest economy was heavily hit by strict COVID-19 curbs. And finally, in stocks, a total turnover of 853.745 million shares worth 11.841 billion naira in 18,543 deals was traded this week by investors on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. The financial services industry measured by volume net activity chart, while the conglomerates industry and the consumer goods industry followed in second and third place respectively. The all-share index and market capitalization depreciated by 1.58% to close the week at 54,915.39 points and 29.916 trillion naira respectively. 19 equities appreciated in price during the week, 47 depreciated in price, while 99 equities remained unchanged. And that's it on Business News. I am Chiamaka Wafo.
Well, I'll take a look at the foreign scene where Malawi's President Lazarus Chakwera has pleaded with the world to send immediate aid to the country in southern Africa, which has been devastated by storms that have killed more than 300 people and forced hundreds of thousands more from their homes. During the weekend, Tropical Storm Freddy struck the southern African coast once more, devastating Malawi and its neighbor Mozambique. Since February, there have been more than 400 fatalities recorded in the region, with at least 326 of the deaths occurring in Malawi. Stronger storms are being fueled by thermal energy from the water's surface as ocean temperatures rise due to climate change. Freddy broke the record for the greatest cyclone energy ever accumulated, which is determined by the average wind speed of a storm over its entire existence. According to meteorologists, it might set 2 more records. And in sports, Nigeria Super Eagles hope to solve its goalkeeping department with the promising 19-year-old England-based kid sensation Owen Olamidayo Goodman are now on the brink, as he has been invited to the England Under-20 team ahead of the Under-20 World Cup. The goalkeeper, who is born in the United Kingdom to a Nigerian mother and British father, is one of 2 goalkeepers invited in the 22-member team by England technical director John McDermott. The kid sensation, who recently penned a new deal with his Under-21 Crystal Palace club, is expected to report to the team camp on Sunday along with other players. The team is expected to play 3 friendly matches before departure for the 23rd edition of the Under-20 World Cup in Indonesia, scheduled between May 20th to June 11th, 2023. Preparation for the summer tournament will see England play France, USA and Germany. And that wraps up Trust TV News Hour for tonight. For more news, you can subscribe and follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Have a good evening.
From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.